Imagine you make software for middle managers. Boring, profitable, enterprise software. Then, one day, you decide you want to own the platform where Gen Z points at text overlaid on videos while doing the renegade. This is Microsoft in 2020. The company that gave us Excel wants to buy TikTok, the app that gave us savage love dance trends and accidentally radicalized your aunt. This wasn't a fever dream, it was real. Microsoft genuinely tried to acquire TikTok for around $30 billion. There were negotiations, there were lawyers, the Treasury Department got involved, and the whole thing fell apart in the most predictable way possible. Today, we're dissecting how fear, corporate FOMO, and geopolitical chaos created a deal so absurd that everyone now pretends it never happened. Let's go. To understand how we got here, rewind to summer 2020. The world is locked down, everyone's trapped at home scrolling, and TikTok is absolutely exploding. By July, the app hit 100 million users in the United States. It became the most downloaded app in the country, beating Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything. Teenagers were spending 5 hours a day watching 15-second videos. Adults downloaded it just to see what the kids are into, and got algorithmically trapped watching home renovation content until 3 a.m. But Washington was losing its mind. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, a company headquartered in Beijing. And in the paranoid calculus of US national security officials, that means one thing. The Chinese Communist Party has access to everything. Every video you watch, every message you send, your location, your face. All of it potentially flowing back to servers in China, getting fed into some dystopian surveillance machine. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo went on Fox News and told Americans to only download TikTok if you want your private information in the hands of the Chinese Communist Party. He wasn't kidding. This was official policy. Then Trump took it nuclear. August 2020, he signed an executive order threatening to ban TikTok entirely from the United States unless ByteDance sold its American operations to a US company. The deadline? 45 days. Sell or get kicked out of the richest market on earth. This was unprecedented. The US government forcing a foreign company to sell one of the most valuable apps on the planet under threat of total banishment. Legally questionable. Economically aggressive, and it created a feeding frenzy because suddenly TikTok was on the auction block, a platform with 100 million users, explosive growth, printing money from ads, and the US government was basically forcing a fire sale. Tech companies started circling like sharks. So you've got a massively popular app, a forced sale, and a ticking clock. Who shows up ready to buy? The last company anyone expected. Enter Microsoft. Let's be clear about Microsoft's consumer track record because it matters. The Zune? Launched in 2006 to kill the iPod. Dead by 2012. Windows Phone? Microsoft spent billions trying to compete with iPhone and Android. By 2017, it had 0.1% market share. Mixer? Their Twitch competitor where they paid millions to steal top streamers? Shut down July 2020, just weeks before this TikTok circus started. Microsoft is phenomenal at enterprise software. Azure prints money. Office 365 runs every corporation. Teams became the default remote work platform during the pandemic. But consumer products? They have the reverse Midas touch. Everything they touch turns to abandonware. So why would they want TikTok? Here's the logic beneath the corporate PR. First, instant access to 100 million young users. Microsoft's demographic is boomers opening Outlook and middle managers building pivot tables. They have zero cultural relevance with anyone under 30. TikTok would fix that overnight. Second, cloud revenue. TikTok runs on cloud infrastructure. If Microsoft owned it, they could migrate everything to Azure. Every video uploaded, every recommendation served, every ad displayed, all running through Microsoft servers. The recurring revenue would be staggering. Third, advertising. TikTok's ad business was exploding in 2020, over $500 million annually in the US and growing at triple digits. Microsoft had tried to build an ad business for years and mostly failed. Buying TikTok would make them a top-tier ad platform instantly. CEO Satya Nadella saw the forced sale as a once-in-a-generation opportunity, a world-class consumer platform handed to Microsoft because of a presidential executive order. And here's the kicker. If the deal failed, it wasn't Microsoft's fault. They had political cover. Trump wanted an American owner. Trying and failing looked patriotic. So Microsoft announces talks to acquire TikTok's US operations in early August 2020. Wall Street cheers. Analysts call it brilliant. There's just one problem. Actually buying TikTok is technically impossible. Here's where it gets messy. The deal on paper sounded simple. Microsoft buys TikTok's operations in the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. 4 countries. Clean separation. Easy. Except you can't just buy part of TikTok. Problem 1. The data. TikTok users in America weren't uploading videos to servers in Virginia. Their data flowed through ByteDance's global infrastructure with servers in China every day. User profiles, viewing habits, location data, all of it passing through systems controlled by the parent company in Beijing. You can't flip a switch and make that stop. The entire platform is interconnected. Problem 2. The algorithm. The recommendation engine that makes TikTok addictive. The AI deciding whether you see cat videos or political conspiracy theories was developed by ByteDance engineers in China. It's their core intellectual property, the crown jewel. Without the algorithm, TikTok is just an empty video hosting platform. You're buying a Ferrari without the engine. Problem 3. The people. The engineers who actually build and maintain TikTok, mostly based in China. You can't copy-paste a development team across borders. So Microsoft's proposed solution was to rebuild TikTok from scratch, migrate everything to Azure servers in the US, license the algorithm from ByteDance, essentially recreate the entire platform under American control. Cost? Billions. Timeline? Years. Success rate? Unknown. Think of it like buying a car, but the engine stays in China and you have to build a new one yourself using blueprints you're not entirely sure you understand. Then, China twisted the knife. Late August 2020, Beijing updated its export control laws. New rule: companies can't export AI algorithms without government approval. Translation: ByteDance can't hand Microsoft the recommendation engine, even if they wanted to, without asking the Chinese Communist Party for permission. Spoiler alert, Beijing had zero intention of approving that. But wait, it gets dumber. Because just when you think this deal can't get more complicated, Oracle crashes the party. September 2020. Microsoft thinks it has the inside track. They're negotiating with ByteDance, coordinating with Treasury, trying to solve the technical nightmare of surgically separating TikTok from China. And then Oracle announces they want in. Oracle, the database company, run by billionaire Larry Ellison, a man who owns multiple Hawaiian islands and is one of Trump's biggest supporters in Silicon Valley. Suddenly, Oracle says they're partnering with Walmart, yes, Walmart, because apparently this story needed retail chaos too, to bid for TikTok. Here's what made Oracle dangerous. Larry Ellison had a personal relationship with Trump. He'd hosted fundraisers, he was one of the few tech executives vocally supporting the president. Microsoft had the better technical offer. Oracle had the political inside track, and their proposal was completely different. Oracle didn't want to buy TikTok. They pitched a trusted technology partner arrangement. Translation: Oracle hosts the data, Americans get some board seats, but ByteDance keeps ownership. The proposed structure was absurd. Oracle takes 20%. Walmart takes 12.5%. ByteDance keeps 67.5%. But somehow, because Americans would control the data and have board representation, this supposedly satisfied national security concerns. Let that sink in. Microsoft wanted to actually acquire the company. Oracle wanted to become a glorified IT contractor, while ByteDance kept majority ownership. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin blessed it. The Trump administration called it acceptable. Never mind that ByteDance engineers would still need data access to improve the algorithm. Never mind that the Chinese parent company retained control. It was political theater dressed up as a solution. The entire trusted technology partner label was meaningless. Data doesn't magically become safe because it sits on American servers if the people who access it work for a Chinese company. Microsoft had been outmaneuvered politically despite having the only offer that made technical sense. So Oracle thinks they won. The Trump team announces the deal. ByteDance issues a carefully worded statement. And then ByteDance says no. ByteDance said no. Not immediately. They balked. The board looked at the Oracle deal and realized they were being asked to surrender their most valuable technology for political theater, while keeping all the liability and none of the control. Here's the problem Washington didn't want to face. ByteDance couldn't legally agree even if they wanted to. Remember China's new export control law from August? Beijing made it crystal clear that exporting AI recommendation algorithms required government approval. And the Chinese Ministry of Commerce had zero intention of approving this. This was national pride for China. The US was trying to force a Chinese tech company to hand over its crown jewel technology under threat of banishment. If Beijing rolled over, every Chinese tech company would be vulnerable to the same shakedown. So ByteDance filed a lawsuit in U.S. federal court challenging Trump's executive order. Their argument was actually solid. The order violated due process, there was no concrete evidence TikTok posed a national security threat, and the forced sale constituted an illegal government taking. Judges started granting injunctions. The ban got delayed again. The Oracle-Walmart deal died slowly. ByteDance couldn't get Beijing's approval to export the algorithm. Oracle couldn't run TikTok without the algorithm. The whole structure was built on legal quicksand. Microsoft, watching from the sidelines, quietly walked away in September 2020. No drama, just a brief statement. ByteDance informed us our proposal would not be moving forward. Translation: we dodged a bullet. November 2020, Trump loses the election. Suddenly, the entire political calculus shifts. The executive order is still technically active, but nobody knows if Biden will enforce it. TikTok's strategy became obvious. Delay, litigate, wait for the winds to change. It worked. Biden takes office in January 2021. Everyone expects him to immediately kill this circus. He doesn't. Instead, it gets weirder for another year. Biden takes office in January 2021. Everyone assumes he'll reverse Trump's order immediately and end the nightmare. He doesn't. For months, TikTok sat in legal limbo. The Biden administration kept the order under review. The app kept operating normally while lawyers fought in court, but the ban threat still hung overhead like a sword. June 2021. Biden finally issues a new executive order. He formally revokes Trump's TikTok ban. But here's the twist. He replaces it with a new directive telling the Commerce Department to evaluate apps from foreign adversaries and develop a framework for addressing security risks. Translation: the threat continues, we're just not enforcing anything right now. The Oracle-Walmart deal was officially dead. No Chinese approval for the algorithm. Courts blocking ban enforcement. New administration refusing to inherit Trump's mess. ByteDance's strategy worked perfectly. Do nothing, hire lawyers, run out the clock, win. TikTok kept growing. By 2022, over 150 million US users. The app that was supposedly weeks from destruction became more dominant than ever. Teenagers kept dancing, brands kept advertising, the algorithm kept serving dopamine. Here's the kicker. After all that chaos, the forced sale, Microsoft and Oracle fighting over scraps, Walmart randomly involved, billions in potential deals, nothing changed. TikTok is still Chinese owned. ByteDance still controls the algorithm. Data still flows through their systems. The only real change? TikTok hired armies of Washington lobbyists and launched Project Texas, a PR campaign claiming they store US user data on Oracle cloud servers in Texas, which is darkly hilarious. Oracle was supposed to buy them. Instead, Oracle became a contractor getting paid to host data while ByteDance kept everything that mattered. Victory through bureaucratic paralysis. So here we are in 2025. TikTok is still Chinese owned. Microsoft never got its dance app. What did we actually learn from this circus? Let's check the scoreboard. TikTok, still here, still Chinese owned by ByteDance, still operating exactly as before. Over 170 million US users as of 2024. More popular than ever. Algorithm still runs from Beijing. The app that was supposedly weeks from annihilation is now embedded in American culture like caffeine. Microsoft dodged a bullet and stumbled into gold. Instead of buying TikTok and inheriting a consumer nightmare, they invested $13 billion into OpenAI. They got ChatGPT, GPT-4, a front row seat to the AI revolution, actually transforming their business. Satya Nadella made the right call by walking away, even if it wasn't the call he wanted. Oracle got nothing. Larry Ellison's Trump connection bought zero influence when it mattered. The trusted technology partner fantasy evaporated.
Oracle eventually got a contract to host TikTok data in Texas for Project Texas, but it's a cloud services agreement, not the strategic coup they pitched. The politicians, still flailing. Montana passed a statewide TikTok ban in 2023, struck down in federal court. Congress keeps holding hearings grilling TikTok's CEO about data security. There's TikTok versus Garland, where the government tries again to force a sale or ban under new legal theories. Same fight, new paperwork. The real outcome? Forced sale failed. Ban threats failed. TikTok survived by hiring lobbyists, running PR campaigns, and yes, partnering with Oracle to store some data on American servers. The exact thing Oracle wanted originally, just without ownership or control. Microsoft learned, stick to what you're good at. Enterprise software, cloud infrastructure, AI partnerships. Don't chase consumer trends desperate to stay culturally relevant. Washington still hasn't learned. You can't force Chinese companies to sell via executive order when China can just say no. So what's the real lesson here? Because this isn't just about one failed deal. This is about the future of tech geopolitics. Here's what this means. Lesson 1. The tech Cold War is real and accelerating. The US and China are in a technological decoupling that will reshape global commerce for decades. Semiconductors. The US is cutting off China's access to advanced chips. AI. Both countries racing to dominate. Social media platforms are just one battlefield in a much larger war. This will get worse before it gets better. Lesson 2. Forced sales don't work in modern tech. You cannot surgically separate a platform like TikTok from its home country's infrastructure, talent, and intellectual property. Modern apps aren't products you can box up and ship. They're living ecosystems with roots buried deep in their country of origin. Trying to force ByteDance to sell was like separating conjoined twins with a hacksaw. Messy, painful, probably fatal. Lesson 3. Platforms have more power than governments admit. TikTok had 100 million users when Trump issued the ban threat. That's leverage. Politicians talk tough about national security, but when 170 million voters use your app daily, banning it becomes political suicide. Users don't care about geopolitics. They care about their For You page. This will happen again. WeChat is on watch lists. Shein and Temu, the Chinese shopping apps flooding America with $3 t-shirts, are next. Every Chinese app with significant US market share will face this pressure. But the uncomfortable truth? The real vulnerability isn't data theft. China doesn't need TikTok to steal data. They have hackers. The real threat is algorithmic manipulation. The power to shape what Americans see, believe, and fear through invisible recommendation systems. That's the weapon nobody knows how to regulate. Microsoft's actual win? They avoided managing Gen Z outrage when the TikTok reckoning eventually comes. And it will come. Maybe not in 2025, but the pressure is building. The final irony, the greatest threat isn't foreign ownership. It's that nobody, governments, companies, users, can govern platforms at this scale anymore. They're too big, too embedded, too essential. ByteDance can't fully control TikTok. Beijing can't control ByteDance.
Washington certainly can't control any of it. We're all passengers on algorithms we don't understand. In a geopolitical game, nobody knows how to win. Thanks for watching. If you want to understand how this tech Cold War is playing out elsewhere, check out the next video where we break down the semiconductor war and why one island, Taiwan, might be the most strategically important place on Earth.